Blog Talk Radio.
And today's guest is Nick Neonakis, who's the Vice President of SGO Designer Glass. And Don, I think you're up. I think we wanted to talk to Nick a little bit about the industry in general.
Yeah, Nick, really tell us how big the industry is.
Sure. Well, we are a part of the remodeling and construction market. In the United States, that's about a $240 billion market. Glass, decorative glass, is probably somewhere in the $40 billion range. So it's a big, big market.
Wow, yeah. $40 billion, wow.
That's a big market. Nick, what's been the most interesting thing that's happened to you since getting involved with SGO Designer Glass? I imagine there's a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think the whole working with the franchisees and growing the company has been just such a tremendous experience. And working with entrepreneurs who are driven and dedicated to grow their businesses alongside with us. In terms of exciting things, there have been so many different initiatives, trade shows, marketing, that we've seen. I'll tell you a funny story, which is kind of, I think, an interesting thing. We're working with some folks down in Ecuador to put some businesses down in there. And so I flew down to Ecuador to work with them. And we went out for a big meal, to kind of welcome me to the country and to tell their associates. And so they leaned over and said, "Tonight we'll be having the food of our ancestors." I said,
"Oh, boy."
They said, "Cuy." I said, "Oh, what's that?" They said, "Oh, you'll see." And so it came out and it was guinea pigs.
Really? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's the national food. And it wasn't that bad.
Oh, that's fascinating. And that must be interesting for you, Nick. I guess, I was going to ask you earlier on in the show if you get to actually go to all these different countries, It must be a fantastic job.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's incredible. What kind of characteristics do you think make a successful SGO Designer Glass franchisee, Nick? Well,
I think it's the same kinds of characteristics that make a successful franchisee in any professional level organization. It's somebody who is, number one, very comfortable working with people. They're not shy people. They like going out. They like meeting people. They like making networks of connections, maintaining those. And at the same time, they have that creative side. But it's not so much that it overshadows their business side, okay? Because what we found is if somebody is too much of an artist in our business, they're going to spend all day drawing and making beautiful designs and not enough time working on the business. So number one, marketing and sales. Number two is that creative orientation.
Right. You have to find that right mix. That's a good point. Someone who has the skill of the designing, and obviously the most important thing is to keep the business going, sales and all that. So that must be pretty tough finding that type of person.
Well, it is, and we are always looking for the right partners to come and join us. And, one of the things that we do is we put a lot of time into the front end, perhaps more than many other franchisors, to really understand, is there a market here, and will this person succeed? And we're the ones who pay for a lot of that.
Right. Talk about training a little bit, Nick. How is that for a franchisee?
Sure. Well, it starts even before we offer a franchise by going out to their local market to, really see, is there a market there? I mean, to give you a sense, next week I'll be out in Mississippi looking at a market with a client.
Yeah.
From there, we need about a month to do all of the groundwork. So once everybody agrees this is the right business for everybody to be into, we need about 1 month to work with our now new franchisee to do the studio site selection, the competitive analysis, the pricing. All of that happens before they come to a 2-week training in California at our facilities, where we go over every aspect of the business, the marketing, the sales, the operations, fabrication, everything. Then we have a 1-year startup program that every new franchisee is automatically enrolled in, and every single week they work with their franchise coach to make sure that their business is tracking on the right way. And the way that we ensure that is during training, we build two plans, a business plan and a marketing plan. And the business plan, basically, we break the first year up into the 52 weeks, and then each week gets a dollar value of what they need to do gross revenue-wise. The marketing plan is the qualitative side, what steps they need to do to hit their target. And then when they leave training, they keep a copy and we keep a copy, and then that's what our startup people work with our franchisees on to make sure that they're hitting their goals every step of the way.
I think that's great how detailed the goals you set for them are.
Well, we're big believers. If you can measure it, you can manage it.
So you'll know, since you're basing on a weekly basis, you'll, say after a month, if there's not hitting numbers, you'll find it early on. That's
right. Our motto at SGO is we want to know about the problem when it's a little tiny baby problem.
Right.
A 6-month-old problem in a startup business, that's a big, big problem.
I would agree, absolutely.
What's a typical day like as an SGO franchisee? I think you talked about it a little bit. I guess they're doing a little selling, handling the business, doing design work. But I'm sure there's a few other things, Nick.
Yeah, well, usually a typical day is going to be going into the studio, opening it up, having the employees come in, taking a look, at the fax machine, see if any orders have come in from partners, and then spending about half the day outside of the business, going out and visiting the different business relationships, the architects, the designers, the builders, and so on, that we set up relationships with to bring them up to speed on new products or projects, things of that nature, then heading back to the studio and maybe having some client interactions, overseeing the fabricators, and then at the end of the day, maybe overseeing an installation or two that's happening, making sure the clients are happy with it, and then closing up shop.
Right. So every day's a little different, but of course very interesting. So.
Yeah, if you get bored easily, we've got an interesting opportunity for you.
Right.
That's something. Yeah, and one of the things about these colors, Nick, is the colors and patterns enhance a room or building. It certainly gives it, I think as you mentioned earlier, like character, so you could say.
Yeah, it really does. It allows you to personalize a space.
Absolutely, it becomes your own.
Yeah, and and that's the same that whether it's a home or whether it's a commercial institution or a religious facility. Everybody is looking to make their spaces theirs.
Right.
And so that's really what we specialize in. Whether it's a church or a synagogue or a mosque or a casino or a hotel or a private residential home, we have products that can make any of them more beautiful.
Right, absolutely. What are SGO's plans for the future, Nick? How far, how big would you guys like to get?
Well, we see a big, wide world out there of different areas that we are interested in growing into. In the United States, we have lots of availability. We have currently about 160 franchise territories in the United States, and we have room for about another 120, and then we'll be sold out. Internationally, lots and lots of opportunity.
That's fantastic.
And you have a real nice website, by the way. I've seen it before. I was really looking at it today in detail. It's just a very nice website, Nick.
Thanks. Yeah, SGOdesignerglass.com.
All right. What is the best way to get in touch with you, Nick, for our listeners who want more information on SGO?
Well, you can call me personally at 800-944-4746. That's Nick Neonakis, 800-944-4746. Or you can go onto our website, SGOdesignerglass.com, and go to the Contact Us section. You can also see all of the studios that we have in the United States and worldwide on that website.
That's fantastic.
One last quick question, Nick. Do you have any designer glass in your home?
I absolutely do. In fact, beginning of the program, that was what I was describing. I live in a mission-style home, and we have a tremendously beautiful door, mission-style door that we put in.
That's fantastic. Well, Nick, I want to thank you again. You've been a fantastic guest, and we're certainly going to have you back in the near future. And we're going to keep our eye on your franchise. I expect great things from you guys.
Thanks so much, Marty and Don. And for 30 plus years, we've been making great things happen.
That's fantastic. You have a great day, Nick, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you,
Nick. Thanks for coming
Thanks,
on.
Nick.
Have a good day. Talk to you soon.
Great concept, huh, Don?
Yeah, it's just so interesting. I mean, we've talked about the franchise industry, how many different industries and how niche it's become. This is a good example of a niche-type franchise, but one that's been around for years.
Right, absolutely.
And I'm really impressed. You think of stained glass, okay, do work for churches, and I'm just impressed by a franchisee, how many different avenues they can go for business.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone's home, all these different types of contractors, they can work with to help get business. And, stained glass can go in a lot of different places.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to thank you, Don. You did a great job today. Again, another great show. And next week we have another, great franchise concept. And for our listeners, go to franchiseinterviews.com. And I guess I'll talk to you next week, Don.
Definitely. Good
Have a great day, Don.
You too.
Thanks, Joe. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.